I haven't logged into this Genshin Impact account in over 3 years, and today I am going to have a account review to show you exactly what it looks like and what it looked like the last time I played. As you can see here, I have not discovered any of the new zones. I don't even know what they're all called, to be honest. I do know that Fontaine is now here and that is the latest zone, but as you see here, I have not been any further than, I think it was like patch 1.4 something, 1.3, whatever patch Hu Tao came in. That was the last time I played the game. So there is a lot of stuff that hasn't been done or seen in this account. Now, I started this account the day that the game came out, so it is a very early account, and it was welled on pretty significantly back in the days, which means I have a lot of the early heroes and characters that were available at the beginning. So we'll go over a little bit of everything that I have and see what is the plan for the future of this account and Genshin Impact. Hey everyone, I'm Zoras, not Casuals, and we used to make guides for this game which got millions of views overall, but we haven't touched it for a very long time. Now, I was curious as to get back into it, as I know there's a lot more content and I do love making guides and character builds for this game. So I wanted to check out what the account looked like after almost exactly 3 years of not being on. If we come into the abyss here, we'll see basically the last time I was on was March 2021. So just a few months short of exactly 3 years. And it had started in exactly November 2020. So over 3 years ago, which means that this is not an account that has seen any of the content in between. Now, this is a pretty interesting way to see, as obviously as we progress through the times. And obviously the teams were much more simple back then because there was not many characters to choose from. I did manage to clear the abyss multiple times using Diluc, Child, as well as eventually Ganyu and Hu Tao, which I did once with when she came out. And you can see some pretty interesting numbers here. Obviously a lot of Diluc and a lot of Bennett. And here even I did the abyss with Bennett as my main DPS. So that was a pretty fun thing. So this is going to be what the account looks like currently. Now, obviously, Hu Tao was my latest character and one of my main, even though I think Child or Tartaglia, I guess, I don't exactly know how to say it anymore, but he was my main character. I do have 4 constellation on him, which from what I recall is basically the best constellation that he has. And my artifacts were obviously the Heart of Depth set, which was his set back in the days. Now I'll have to figure out if there's a new set. And we will also see that my Hu Tao, all my artifacts usually were pretty good. I was pretty good at farming at least the correct set, and some of the pieces I'll show you later have very, very good rolls as I farmed a lot of them. But I didn't have any constellation, nor did I use her weapon. I guess I didn't roll on the Staff of Holma back then, so I was using a level 5 Dragon's Bane. For my Child, I was using a Skyward Harp, and it is refinement rank 1 only, but obviously a very strong weapon, and I think still is. Now, if you look at my other characters, constellation-wise, I have a lot of them maxed out, especially obviously the 4-star. My official obviously was one of my main character, and my character guide on her got almost 500,000 views. She is just so powerful, and I just thought she was one of the best characters in the game back then, and it seems like it hasn't changed one bit. Now, this is what I was using on her, and the Amos bow was also the weapon I was using on her back then. Now, my previous main, the great and beautiful Diluc. Now, Diluc was obviously one of the top, character back in the days. He was one of the first 5 stars I got, and my whole account was based on him. I do have 4 constellations for him, which obviously is very powerful because he was really hard to get. And he still is. I think you can only really get him from certain like regular banners and stuff. He doesn't have his own banner, or if he does, it's not coming around anytime recently or often. So obviously very strong Diluc here with the Crimson Witch set. So obviously his weapon is here. Chongyun was the one using it for probably a guide. This is obviously the Wolf Greystone at refinement rank 2. So back in the days, this was the top of the line. Obviously I could get refinement rank 5, but I wasn't a massive well, just a little bit of a well enough to get some of these heroes to a very decent place. Now Ningguang was also one of these heroes that I thought was just insanely powerful. My most popular video ever, almost 900,000 views, was my guide on Ningguang as the main DPS dealer. Now, I don't think that's a thing anymore. I don't think that Geo have gotten any love anytime recently from what I've been reading. sadly, but I still love her so much, which obviously can show by the fact that she is level 90, weaponed with like, you know, a decent set of artifact and constellation 6, so she's completely maxed out in constellation, which really makes her shine. This is what I remember using. It really was fun with all the shards and all the stuff, all the geo everywhere. Now, as far as the talents go, I don't think I had maxed out everything. Obviously, there's a few levels left to be gotten here for these characters. Obviously, I was not maining them. My child obviously has this one crowned or maxed out, and the rest is not, because there really is, this is the one that you wanted to. Now, of course, things might have changed, so this might not be accurate anymore. I do note that my Utah was level 9, so I was pretty close to maxing it out. I just needed a few more, you know, materials here, which I obviously have some crowns left. So I guess that's good. I think they're pretty hard and a long process to get some of them, so it's good that I have a few of them saved up. A few other heroes, obviously, that I have maxed out would be Fischl. My Diluc, I guess I had maxed out this one, but I guess I could. I'm not very far off. So I left myself a lot of options back then, which I guess is good if I am to go and remake some guides. One hero we forgot here too is going to be Tinshu, which was obviously the most broken support in the game, and I think he still is. I have him maxed out at 6 constellation as well, so he is obviously going to be a powerhouse of any team, and still is going to be that. So basically, those 4 heroes here were like 4 of my main. This is what I was playing the most. Obviously, having all the constellation, having all the weapons, having maxed out talents. This is, you know, what it was. And my second team was Diluc, obviously Bennett. I think Bennett is one of the best healer character in this game. I even used it as a main DPS for the longest time, and I made multiple videos about him as a main DPS, which made a very good success. Very, very powerful, very underestimated hero. Now, artifact-wise, I was using Noblesse, which is obviously his support. Again, fully max Bennett. Now, this was my first, I think, 4-star that I fully maxed. He's just too good. He carries you through the entire game, so obviously there's no question there. And he was using Festering Desire, which I think was pretty good for what it did. But I do have a lot of other choices that I know some of them are more supportive and stuff, so I'll have to check out what to use in the future for this guy. And talent-wise, I do not think I have maxed out this one. I guess I didn't. And I'm really not far from maxing out some of these talents, so this is obviously going to be something that I have to look into. And I'm also wondering why I never maxed out something like Fantastic Voyage. I mean, my guess is that I just maxed out the entire game. I was beating the Abyss like it was a joke at level 12. So I didn't really feel the need for it, but it's good to know that there's still some work to be done on the account if I wanted to do it. Now, going to Albedo, I don't think I have any constellation on this guy. I was using him as a support Geo with my double Geo comp when I was using Ningguang. So he still has very decent, you know, level 90 weapons and stuff. It's a lot of 4-star refinement rank 5 weapons, which was obviously the only thing you could really get back then, except a few 5-star weapons. There was not that many of them, so a lot of 4-star were meta. Now, Ganyu also, I didn't get any constellation, but she was one hero that I was using quite a lot in some of my comps. Now, she doesn't have her set here because I probably moved it around, but she obviously will be usable anytime. She is currently level 80, so not too bad, and her talents are leveled up. Level 8 for the ult. I do remember when she came out, she was really, really strong. Her ult worked really, really well with some of my comps, so that was one of the things that I was using there. Venti. Obviously the best Anemo character back in the days. The ult would absorb the entire room and you would just one-shot it with Diluc's ult or even Child's ult. So it was really powerful there. I was using the Favonius Warbow, which I think is pretty good. Energy regeneration, I hope that's still good. Talent-wise, the ult was level 8, so a little bit of room here to level up. But Venti was not my most used character either, so obviously I didn't put too much effort. Now we do have this little Diona. I do think, yeah, I did max this one out. So Constellation 6, she was the healer for my second team. So it was Bennett and Diona. They were the healers that I was using. So this is, you know, it makes sense that she would be leveled up. She's still only level 70, but as a support, I don't think you needed to max her out. And this is what I was using, Sacrificial Bow at level 5 and her Maiden's Beloved set. So pretty nice. So nice to see that a lot of my set bonuses are still there, but not everything is plus 20. Now, I have to look afterwards which the stats, some of them that I have, I know are insanely powerful, and some of them are not so much. Now we have Chongyun here, which is also maxed out, of course, with all the constellation. I don't think, yeah, I didn't have anything for Venti. Chi-Chi, I didn't really use her much. What level is she? She's 70. I was using her, I think, here and there. She has the Flute and the Maiden's Beloved, so another support set. Now, Xiangling, obviously maxed out, as most of my 4-stars are. I do remember her being extremely powerful. She does have some levels to go, so I could level her up a little bit more. I do remember, obviously this is not the right weapon, but I do have, there's just an unequipped Skyward Spine here, so I guess that's hers. Here obviously is a very powerful hero. She was really strong in the early game, and her constellations, if I remember correctly, are very powerful. Yeah, it gives 15% power damage bonus, so she works really well with my, obviously, Hu Tao and my Deluxe. So I love her, and I remember using her a lot, and I still think I'm going to be using her a lot. Now, Jean, I wasn't using Jean much. Level 60, I barely never used her. I didn't have any constellation. I know she's not bad at all. I just had too many characters that were completing the role that she does. Barbara, constellation maxed out. She was amazing healer at the beginning. I would do very well with her, but she just got replaced over time. Beidou, obviously, also maxed out. I'm not using anything on her. I did use her at one point in life. She does have a decent enough weapon, and she's level 50. So again, not something that I've been using. Now, obviously, this one is the Traveler, which, you know, obviously is max, but it's not someone that I was using a lot either. I have Kitching, never used her, but I unlocked her. There was obviously no constellation or anything on her. Mona, same thing. Had her, but never used her. Noelle, fully maxed out here again. Never really used her much, but got the constellation. Sucrose, I know that's one hero that I had not all of. Yes, I only have 3 of them. I do know that they are really good ones, but I don't know if it would be worth getting more. I do know she's an incredible strong Anemo. I was using Venti for the same role, but I do know that she has a very different niche than Venti, and that Venti is not as good as it used to be. So this could be a good alternate for the Anemo. Kea was another very strong hero, but he did need some of the constellation to really shine. If I remember correctly, like something like this was also really good. So he's really hard to get. You couldn't get his constellation anywhere. As you can see, I have tons of constellation for everyone, but him, no. So I was kind of like, I guess, waiting. He is using a black sword at level 90, so he's not completely forgotten, but he is level 20, so obviously not being used much. Razor was one of the best main DPS 4-star hero back in the days, but obviously I have him maxed out, but I never used it. My friend did use him a lot, and he was clearing the content like crazy. The damage that this hero did was amazing. I remember that. Lisa with 2 constellation, never really used her. She was more meant to climb and make sounds than play, so I guess that's what happened. This one, I never really got into her. I don't think she was really good, and I don't think she is. She has 2 constellations that I got from rolling on the other stuff, so of course it is what it is. And Amber, the famous character that was played by everybody and hated by everybody except some people. Obviously, I have 3 constellations, so I didn't even have all of them, probably on purpose. But, you know, she is what she is. I know she was pretty interesting with some builds back in the days, but very far from a main DPS that people seem to be using ever. Now, if we look here, these are basically the 2 teams that I had set up. Now, I'm sure it's not optimal. I don't think that these 2 work together. They're both carries. They don't really belong in the same party. And then Diluc was the other team with Ganyu, so, you know, vaporize, freezing stuff. And then this one is obviously 2 water with the fire and electricity. So this, you know, is what it is. I don't have any of the Dendro guys. Like, I never unlocked any of them. They didn't exist back then, so you couldn't even if you wanted to. So my choices are still limited, so I'm gonna have to, you know, make some different parties in the future if I were to want to play some of these comps. Now, looking into the inventory for some of the artifacts that I have kind of shown quickly. So of course I have 2 of the really, those were 2, if not the 2 best bows that existed in the game back then. There was nothing else that was better or that existed. So this is what I had. Great to see that I have a good Lost Prayer of Sacred Winds, as well as a level 2 Skyward Spine, so a really good spear, and a level 2 Wolf Gravestone, so another really good 2-handed weapon. I have a Skyward Atlas here that I was not using, I guess. And then you can see most of my weapons otherwise are all these 4-star purple weapons with 5 refinement on a lot of them. So that was, you know, the way to go back then. And it worked very well for me, as obviously I've cleared all the content with it. And obviously there's just a lot of other stuff, blue stuff. I don't know what I have here. I have a lot of this, so I could level up a lot of my weapons if I was to build a new one. Obviously 884. I think that's a lot. I hope that's a lot. Otherwise, I'll have to farm. Now, coming back to the artifacts. So I'm not going to go through all of them. I have a lot of them saved up. And I do know that some of the ones that I have saved up are just incredibly good. I wouldn't know where they are, but I do know that I was usually keeping anything that had crit. And then I would decide in the future if I was going to do anything with it. So I mean, there's a lot of stuff here. So like, you know, this one is looking pretty good. That's why it's locked, I guess. So I should probably look at the ones that are locked here. I don't know why I locked this one. Probably because it had elemental mastery. Maybe I needed that. There's a lot of stuff here. I'd have to really look into it for, you know, quite a while to really start getting what is good and what is not. And I mean, yeah, this one is locked, so it's pretty good here. And I mean, there's so much stuff here. I'm obviously going to have to do some major cleanup, but in what I do have, I do know that I have some pretty decent artifacts, especially for this set because I farmed it so much. So crit damage, crit rate, that's pretty good. Another crit damage, crit rate, energy recharge, so I know that's very good as well. Here, I don't think that's the best, but a crit rate 12% is actually pretty good. So that's that. So not everything's perfect, but you know, I do think that a lot of it is really good, or the best that I could find with all the resins that I was spending. A lot of double crit, which I remember was really nice and really good. Like this is absolutely amazing. I think a lot of the crit damage and crit rate on the same, some attacks, some stuff like that. So I'm just gonna go through them, you know, a bit quickly. This is kind of what I'm using. I mean, obviously my best ones are equipped on Child, which was my main. My Hu Tao also has some very decent ones of these. So crit damage 27%, I think that's pretty high. This one, crit damage 14%, Flower of Life. So obviously I had 2 sets, but one of them is better than the other, shared between Diluc and shared between Hu Tao. But it seems like I was doing a decent job at getting at least a lot of crit, at least one of the 2 crit stat on everything, as opposed to this, which is not looking as good. And then here there's the helmet with attack. This one has crit damage and attack. So I mean, this seems pretty good to me. Fischl also has very decent gear, crit rate, crit damage, this as well. My Viridescent Veneer set is not too bad from what I remember. Energy recharge was better back then. This is something you wanted. But I need a lot of defense, so I don't know, you know, probably didn't really want this. It's a bit all over the place, the account, so I mean, I'm showing you exactly how it is. I played for like 5 minutes before recording, so there's nothing that I have pre-prepared. This is the account as it was exactly almost 3 years ago. So this is what it looked like. Now, for one thing I forgot to show too is when I go in here, the attributes. This is what my Child looks like. So 52, 200. I know it can get much better than this, especially now. But this is what I had to do with, work with. 156 elemental mastery. So I mean, I know that's also good. So hopefully this looks good to you guys as well. I hope this is still decent. Hu Tao had a little bit less of the crit damage. I was still working on her, as you see. Back in the days, she had just come out for a few weeks before I quit playing because the content had dried up quite significantly. I know my Fischl's pretty good with the crit damage, so that's not too bad. And then, yeah, I mean, my Diluc, lastly, this one, I mean, I know my Diluc's gear is like all over the place, so I think my stats used to be much better than this. But, you know, it is what it is. Now, moving on to the other stuff, I have a lot of these materials here. I don't know. I mean, I know that some of them are valuable. I don't know exactly what it means having 500. Is that a lot? Probably. I know that I have a lot of these things saved up. Some of them 16 of this, 14 of this, and a lot of these 30 something, 48 of this one. So I farmed a lot of this stuff back when we were streaming because there was not much else to do. So I was just farming bosses over and over so that there was some content and to create some videos. We have the books. I don't think I have a lot of them. I was using them. Some of them I have more than others. So, I mean, that's good to know. 3 of these crowns. I know that's worth a lot now. So that's really good. Hopefully I can get some more. Now I have some of these things. So I could, I guess, use them. Okay, yeah. So this is just like artifacts. It's from the Abyss, I guess. So I never opened my rewards back then. And then this, oh yeah, this you get to claim what you want. So you can decide. So, I mean, I'll leave them. Some of this resin stuff, some of this condensed resin, recipes. I don't have a lot of these wish glitters, but I do have, you know, some of these. And I do have some of these so that I can definitely spend them. I don't remember where to do anything with this. Lulu, I guess I'll have to go there. And nothing here because the teapot didn't exist back then. So we'll have to find out how that works now. Now going in here, this is events. Yeah, so I guess there's a lot of stuff I'm going to have to go and do so I can get these rewards. Curtains of Leave. I don't know what this is. Oh, I guess I just get a free character. So I'll take it. Thank you. Give me some characters. I'll take them. Who is this one? Now invite. Oh, more free characters. So I'll have some interesting 4-star characters. Let me know in the comments if they're good, because I don't know yet. The teapot, okay, so this is where I would get the quest to create my teapot. So, I mean, eventually I'll do it. And this is another thing that gives reward, fun, more stuff. And, oh, the Abyss. So this current progress, obviously I'm at the beginning. and there's a lot of nice rewards to be had here. So I should probably try and clear the abyss. 13 days, so I have 13 days to clear it. I should be able to. I mean, I used to be able to. Hopefully my teams will still be able to. I mean, there's a lot. Okay, so this is a good place to see, I guess. So holy, there is so many characters. Like, I played this game for almost 6 months, and this is what we had. And then in 2.5 years, this is what came out. So I mean, it obviously has picked up, and I obviously haven't done any of it on any of them. I don't even know half of these heroes. I've never heard their names before. I do remember Shogun was like leaked-ish back in the days. I've never heard of Urla and any of these. I've never heard of this guy, but he looks pretty cool. I mean, I don't know any of these guys. I guess there's a lot of Dendro stuff here. So it'll be interesting. I know Farina is now the most OP, like, newest Archon release. So that's like the flavor of the month, which is why I'm going to stay away from her for now. But obviously not have a choice. It's not live. And then there is this, which I don't know what these are. 8 daily commissions, receive a key. Oh yeah, so these are like endings for some characters. So this one's in progress. I have never done any of them, so I guess this didn't exist back then, because I would have done them if I could. What does it look like if I go on a character that I have started it on? I guess just a quest, I guess. So yeah, so you have to do some stuff on these guys. A lot of primal gems, it seems like, to be gotten. So I mean, I'll have to start somewhere, but I'm obviously not there yet. Now going here, of course my adventure rank is 55. I think you could go higher, because obviously I've done this amount of XP and I haven't really played. So I guess I was slowly grinding to 60. I think they had just unlocked that you could go to 60. I don't know exactly. I can't remember very well. Obviously my word level is level 8, which is the highest, I think. And then this is going to 60, so I'm not there yet. Now, another thing here, character outfits. That didn't exist back then. We didn't have such a thing as character outfit. So I guess this is Deluxe outfit. I mean, this is a very cool outfit. The price is absolutely insane though, but I mean, as I guess skins are in this game, you kind of expect it. What is it, like 1,000? So like $40 for an outfit. Yeah, I mean, a little bit. I guess you get double, so it's not really, but it's still pretty pricey, because most of the time you don't get to see the outfit since you're fighting. But I do see why the appeal exists for this game, of course. Now looking at my quest log gives me PTSD, but there is obviously a lot of stuff to be done here. A lot of new acts and new places to explore, so I'm gonna have to get up on. I don't even know where I'm gonna get started. I do know I'll have to spend my resin at least and do these quests and stuff, but I really have no idea like where I'm going next. There's so many of these things that I don't know, you know, I can't do anything. I need to complete other quests to continue. So now one of the last thing left to do is to try and see what this account looks like in action. I do know that I need some of these rewards to improve my child. So obviously going to fight child with child is the best scenario to do now. We'll see how this team performs. I don't remember how to play very well. I literally have done one quest just to get back into it. So this is me having no clue what I'm doing so far. So we'll see how that goes. Obviously not very well, but from what I remember, these guys, they were never very strong. So I mean, I do remember that I could kill them pretty easily back in the days. I mean, whoever there was, any boss. And it seems like it hasn't really changed in that way, but I do know that he has multiple phases. So I mean, I guess I remember that at least. Can I attack him again? There we go. And I know I'm not using it in the correct way whatsoever, but I'm just kind of like spamming buttons because I guess that works. So I don't really know what else I'm supposed to be doing. I know I'm gonna have to work on builds and team comms, and people take it much more seriously than back in the days. So it'll be interesting. I guess this is the last phase, so I mean, let's see how long that one lasts, because the first two phases I just basically randomly clicked whatever. So okay, I'm sure people have seen this a million times, probably don't need to show it again. Let's see. Oh yeah, this one is always blinking away, isn't he? Okay, come here, you. Guess I need some movement speed in this team. That would be nice. Give me this. There we go. And then we do this. Oh, I guess this is on cooldown still. Ooh, that was a lot of damage. How much damage can this do? Ooh, 131,000 vaporized. So I guess this is what the combos were supposed to be. I mean, I'm sure water is not what I'm supposed to be using here. I'll just hit him with the white damage here. There we go. Well, that was satisfying. I'm sure some people are looking at it and cringing hard. Like, what are you doing? You're like wasting your vaporize. You did something and blah blah. But I mean, whatever. I'll have to relearn it again. So this is what the account looks like when I can fight on it. I guess I don't think there's any way of making any of these boss harder. I think that was like the hardest difficulty that this can go. Level 90. I mean, I guess there's nothing else to do other than these. So it seems like no matter if the account is old or not, it does perform pretty well when you have level 90 characters. Doesn't matter if they're new or old characters, so that's always nice to see. So that's about it, I guess, for this account. As you can see, there's not so many heroes to talk about. I have 2 new ones I'm gonna have to look into and maybe try out, as it looks interesting, and at least this is my only and first Dendro hero, so good to have something. I don't even know what the Dendro stuff does. What do you guys think about these heroes, these teams? I know that Shinshu, I know Child, I know Fischl, I know Bennett are all like still very meta and some of the best characters in this game forever. So I'm very happy about that. I'm really looking forward to making more guides using these heroes, these guys in Abyss or in anything, any content, because it's going to be interesting now that I have them all at Constellation 6 when it's a much rarer thing to do now. There's so many more characters, so many more guys to play with. So now back in the days, you really had, you know, a few dozen of them and that's it. And so you got the Constellation over and over no matter what you wanted. So now I have this team to play with. Hu Tao is obviously pretty fresh. So no Constellation, nothing. I do know you need Constellation 1 to really shine. So this is going to be something that maybe I'll work on, or maybe I'll just bench her. Who knows? Child is obviously my main, has been my main forever and will probably stay my main for a while. As well as Diluc Constellation 4 feels kind of like wasteful not to be using him. He's also such an awesome character and I have the weapon for him and stuff. So what do you guys think would be my best teams with this? I think the teams that I have currently are not too bad. Hopefully they work out for me right now. And obviously I'll be getting new characters and be making new teams. I do like this team with Shinshu, Tartaglia that makes, you know, this Soothing Water, I guess. That's that's a max HP. I guess that's nice. But it's really just, you know, the double water with the Vaporize with the Hu Tao and the Fischl Electricity. I think it worked pretty well back in the days. I know you could have something else here that's not a main DPS, but it's an open world. It's pretty fun. And I think this team is pretty good. Shinshu Diluc is like a combo you don't want to miss. And then Bennett and Diluc together gives more attack, as well as just Bennett's insane with this buff. And then here I Garnyu. I mean, I know I could be many other characters here. There really is so many that I could choose from, including like Venti and stuff like that. So we'll have to look into that in the future. Let me know what you guys think. I'll obviously be looking into farming new artifacts for some of them. I know there's going to be new artifact sets that are probably better than some of the stuff that I currently have. I know some of it won't be though, so you know, we'll have to find out. I don't think this 2/2 here is as good as something else. I think there's new sets that boost the damage more than this. So this is going to be all the stuff that I'm going to have to work on. I'm planning to make a few guides for characters, returning players, stuff like that. So if you guys are interested, make sure to stay tuned. As I will be uploading some content for Genshin on this channel again. And let me know in the comment what you think should be my next step on this account. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.